Welcome to episode 210. I'm now a regular at this restaurant, Prokop, because every time I said it, they said, "You want your table, comme habitude, as you wish, as you always want, and it's your habit." And I go, "Yeah." And so they seat me at this table and they let me in. That's why they let me in early. They know exactly what I'm going to do, where I'm going. So my story today is continuing about making the film here in France. We started the operation here in this restaurant, which is the oldest restaurant in Paris, planning the film with the Minister of Interior. But they insisted that we go to the Crillon Hotel, which is one of the most expensive hotels in Paris. It's at the Place de Concorde. It is one of the few buildings that was left standing after Paris was renewed. They left the Louvre and they left the Hotel Crillon and the Arc de Triomphe. Everything else was on the right bank was completely urban renewal. They destroyed everything and rebuilt it. Hotel Crillon is very famous, and it's where, of course, the Louis XVI, was at the Place de Concorde. He was, disappeared, or whatever you want to call it. But the problem with the Hotel Crillon was, as I said, it was expensive. Here was the deal. They said, the Minister of Interior, they said, "Look, we'll give you the hotel for free." And I said, "Well, free's a good price." So they sucked me into it. And so I went over there, and it was free, the room. But they have a little thing in France called the value added tax, 20%. And that was more money than what I was paying for the hotels on the left bank here for my film crew. And my first bill from the hotel was for breakfast for a small film crew. I think we had, I don't know how many people I had there at the moment, but it was $600 just for breakfast. So it turned out to be very expensive. So I had to pay more money than I was paying on the left bank. And I told my crew, we're eating at McDonald's. Here in France, they call it McDo. They don't pronounce the last letters. McDo. So I sent my film crew the next morning to eat at McDonald's, and they were happier because some of them were Americans and they liked McDonald's, and they didn't understand all the refinery of croissant, et cetera, et cetera. And my French film crew, of course, they wanted to eat at the Crillon. So anyway, so it ended up being very expensive for me, but it was a great adventure, and I actually made a film in the Hotel Crillon. There's a famous dinner, candlelight dinner, which I made with a Panavision low light level camera, Panaflex camera, and it was a meeting between Lafayette and his future father-in-law, the Duc de Noailles was his name, and he was the prime minister of Louis XIV. And they had a dinner there, and I guess it was before the wedding or whatever. And Lafayette, it was all his money was managed by the Duc de Noailles. And even today in France, there's a company called Noailles Capital, which is a venture capital firm. So kind of interesting, because Lafayette was one of the wealthiest men in France. And in fact, that's the story with George Washington. When he went to George Washington as a teenager, 16 years old, George asked him, he says, "How do you want to start in our army?" He volunteered for the army, the Revolutionary Army. And Lafayette says, "I want to start as a general." And George Washington said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah." And he said, "You're only 16 years old." And Lafayette said, he said, "George, I'm the wealthiest man in France. I'll pay for everything." And George Washington said, "Mon général." So, and that's in the film. It's kind of a funny, that story. So anyway, so I'm sitting here at Prokop getting ready to eat this wonderful French onion soup. And like I said, this restaurant introduced French onion soup to Paris, along with the first coffee ever in Paris, brought directly from Vienna. 1 p.m. Wednesday, December 24th, Christmas Eve. This is the end of episode 210. Corporate sponsor is Synostics.com. Bruce Badeau at Outlook.com has all the details on the device. For more information on Synostics.com and its heart partner device that speaks directly to your brain to contract the muscles that move the fluids in your lower legs back up to your heart, to reduce your blood pressure and improve your cognitive ability. Click on the links in the description below. To see a video demonstration of the device in action by the inventor Ken, go to YouTube and click on the InTag 67 above.